Good morning, my name is Mark Brunton. I'm the Operations Section Chief for CAL Fire Incident Management Team 3 on the Dixie Fire, and we're going to go over the operations brief for Saturday the 14th of August. So the fire is split into two zones. We have the west zone and the east zone. Based on various jurisdictional authorities and so forth, we've split that between the federal agencies and the state agencies. So in the east zone, we have Interagency Incident Management Team 4, representing the federal interests, and they've got the east zone. On the west zone, CAL Fire Incident Management Team 3 is responsible for all activities on the west zone. Within the west zone, we have three sectors. We have the Butte sector, we have the Westwood sector, and we have the Lassen sector. Within each sector, we have a number of branches and divisions and groups, and this provides us a really good level of fire line leadership and span of control for our operations. So just starting off with our Butte sector, not much has changed, pretty static. That's been in a mop-up patrol status. It's moving more into a patrol status each day, and today is another good example that we've reduced down the number of resources, and they're doing really good work there, and that's been turned over to the Butte Administrative Unit. Moving on to the Westwood, it basically runs through the middle of our fire. Starting over into the west, our Division Juliet, that's been a huge priority for us for a number of days. That was a very complex firing operation that took place to solidify that piece of line. Critical piece of line because it had the fire spread to the west, that would have burned into another county, Tehama County, and threatened a number of communities there, and created a whole bunch of issues that potentially could have created a need for another incident management team. So by sealing that off, that stopped the progression of the fire and a lot of extra drama we really didn't need. So Juliet's looking really good. It's been in a mop-up phase for the past number of days, looking really solid, and probably got a couple more days of it being mopped up, and we'll feel really, really solid and good about it. It was been wind tested with the weather conditions past couple days, and wind tested means we've had some good wind pushing on against the line, and it's held, and that tells us that, hey, it validates the line, that it is a good solid line, so we'll continue to make sure that it's solid. So again, Juliet's looking really good. Moving through the core of the fire, we have the western shore of Lake Almanor, and that includes a number of communities, including the community of Chester. We had to delay the planned repopulation of Chester yesterday because of the previous day's weather conditions with the thunder cell and collapse of thunder cells, creating significant winds greater than 40 miles an hour, pushed the fire all over the place. We had success in being able to pick that up. Real challenging firefight for a while, but it did start to potentially threaten the roadways, the access points, and so forth. There's a lot of moving parts there. So meeting with our law enforcement partners and the decision makers regarding repopulation, decided let's put that off at least a day and then move forward after that. So had a good day yesterday, solidified those lines, started taking care of opening up those roadways some more. So decisions to be made within the next day or so regarding the repopulation of that west shore. So that is forthcoming. These shores looking really good. No fire impingement upon the peninsula from either direction. Again, with that wind push and division uniform, that did push the lines, the Highway 36 corridor. We had to do some defense firing yesterday. Met with success there, continued to mop up along that. We were able to do the conditions mellowing a little bit, even though they picked up with the collapse of more thunder cells yesterday. That really kind of, again, challenged our lines, but we were able to put more direct line. Today with the lull in the weather, we're gonna really make a lot of progress and go more direct. Even though uniform is more in the Lassen sector, it is a border that has an effect upon the Westwood sector regarding the protection of the structures in the peninsula and the east shore of the lake. So looking really good. From the south part of the lake, this, even though it shows red, a lot of control lines in there, some minor burn operations, so forth. So this part of it is super solid. We're looking really good there. And then there's one part around Dyer Mountain that we are putting together a firing plan, and I believe we'll be able to institute that tonight with the conditions. If so, once that's buttoned up, that'll put a good shut the door on that part, and that's what we're wanting to do before we get into some potential more hazardous weather, moving into early part of next week, where we're anticipating some pretty heavy winds. So we really want to take advantage of shutting that up. So that's looking really good there. Moving to the east, we start working towards the zone line. We're working very closely with our federal partners and Team 4 in all this activity here in the Dyer Mountain and moving into the Diamond Branch and so forth. So put in a lot of good control lines, buttoned a lot of that up, gone direct, extinguished the fire, and then we are surging resources and assisting Team 4 as they've been having some challenges here and there in their zone and working very collaboratively to accomplish our mission of the full fire suppression. The threat towards Janesville, it's still there. However, it's been mitigated. We're watching it closely. We have decision points in place so that if it were to take place, we have a full plan that we can surge resources in for the protection of the community. We have that stood up. We're working very closely with the Janesville Fire Department in assisting them and working with them to provide that level of protection. So very good plan put together. Hopefully we don't have to institute it, but if we do, we're very confident we'll have a lot of success there. Moving into the Lassen sector, which is basically north of 36, one of our big challenges has been the Warner Valley area. We saw a significant fire run the other day. Extreme fire behavior. Our personnel were prepared with a lot of structure preparation, some line construction prior to that event. When that event did take place, we had some limited success with that, but the fire intensity was so great that it did destroy some structures, unfortunately. However, there was a lot of aggressive firefighting that was done that provided a good, huge amount of protection for that community, and the firefighters were very engaged. With that, the two firefighters did sustain injuries that required transportation to the hospital. Fortunately, they've been released and they're doing well. Good note, but they did put in a huge fight in there, did everything they could. However, there was some structural loss. We don't have exact numbers yet. We have our inspection teams moving in to take a look at that. But there were a number that were saved. We're re-engaged there again today to reduce any more damage from the fire. Also nearby, there was a lightning strike that took place the other day in our lightning series. It's about 5 acres. We've been able to start taking suppression action. We had some clear air to put a rotor wing in there. Took some action. We're putting more ground troops in today. Really tough ground to work in, heavy fuels. So again, that's one of our huge priorities. Moving around into the Lassen National Park, a lot of good work being put in there. Even they've been able to survive a lot of the wind and the cell collapse of the thunder cells. So they're continuing the work within the park, really good work there. Outside the park, moving into Romeo and down into Tango, they're getting good line construction in there, mitigating the incident. We had a slop over the other day that did cause some damage to the power lines, and then more so to the infrastructure regarding the internet and so forth. So that's been assessed by those companies, and they're working on repairs. And the slop over that took place is in heavy mop up. And so we're very comfortable that we're going to be able to hold that at this point in time. Overall, we've had really smoky conditions and not really conducive for flying. However, we're going to take advantage of that when we can. Today's going to be one of those days that, even though it's going to calm down with the weather event, it's still real smoky. It's going to be limited being able to fly. But when we can, we will. And we have plenty of aircraft ready to assist the ground troops and achieve our objectives. Thank you.